Well, hello and good morning, Jefferson. Welcome back to another episode of JPod, Jefferson School District's very own podcast. Host, Lieutenant Brad Caper, joined by my two co-hosts, Chris Shaw and Beck Mallory. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
How are y'all doing today?
That's a good day. You know, we've got sunshine, kind of. Well, we've had sunshine for the past week or so, which is always really nice. And so we're hoping that stays. I know that could be at any minute it can be like 48 degrees and cloudy again.
Right. It was like a taste of summer. It was a little sad. I wanted it to last longer.
Yeah. But it'll get there. I mean, the days are getting longer and it's going to get sunnier. So we're looking forward to a good spring. So that's great. Any plans for spring break, guys?
Sleeping in.
That sounds nice.
Well, I'm going to be using that Justice grant that we got and changing out our camera system throughout the entire district. And so that process is going to start during spring break.
Right. No, this has been quite a process of trying to get grant money to get new cameras, security cameras. And we finally got it. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to be putting that in. So that's going to be something that we all really look forward to, so, especially our administrators. That's great.
Yes.
Yes.
That's great. Good news. Okay, so, today we have a very special guest today. We have our athletic director.
Woohoo!
Doug Naugle. Hello, Doug. How are you? Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Good to have you today. We wanted to talk about athletics. We have so much going on here in Jefferson and just a lot to celebrate as well. And we just wanted to bring you in and kind of have a good conversation. Find out from you what's going on with our athletes.
It is my favorite subject to talk about.
I would have never guessed.
So looking forward to this.
Good. Well, let's talk a little bit about this school year so far. Mm-hmm. You know, some of our successes, some of the things that everyone should really know.
Yeah. So, looking at our volleyball team, we saw a lot of great improvement. Skill wise from our girls. Mm-hmm. We're really looking forward to see that improvement continue for next year. Our cross country teams are starting to build into some full teams. We see some 8th graders coming up that are going to immediately help us on the boys side.
Great.
And we have all returning girls coming back for cross country. So we're really looking forward to that. And then we're looking to build on soccer and football as well.
I heard at the middle school, we have quite a little group of athletes, football athletes there.
Yeah, there's a group of football athletes coming up. We're looking forward to having them join the team. And then soccer as well has quite a few kids out. So our fall sports are going to be looking stronger here.
Good.
It's super exciting to hear middle school because they're young enough. We start getting them really into athletics and sports young so that by the time they get to high school, they're more skilled. They understand their team better because they've been working with those kids for years. So, we've seen that with our girls basketball team. They've been playing basketball together since elementary school, right? And that's part of what makes them so successful.
Absolutely. I coached soccer for years and coached my kids up through soccer. And there was such a great, strong group of kids. And the hope was that they would all go into high school soccer and just, become champs because they were so good. And then by the time they got to high school, though, a lot of them didn't have the interest anymore, right? They had other interests. All of a sudden in high school, you have, hey, I could do track, I could do this, I could do that. And so what we found is that a lot of kids that we thought were going to go didn't necessarily go in. But what it sounds like is we got some feeders. In the middle school, we've got some kids coming up that really want to take participate and play in our football squad and soccer as well. That's great.
I'm looking forward to bringing them into the fold for the high school.
Good.
Next year.
Good. That's great. How can we go any further without talking about girls basketball?
Yeah. They have been in the spotlight this year.
They have been. They've been highlighted in many different areas. We had a girls basketball player of the week for OSAA. We had player of the year, Gretchen Norton. Then we had coach of the year, in our league. That was Zach Mason.
Oh, he did
Obviously,
get Coach of the Year. Good.
he absolutely
Very cool.
deserved that.
He does.
We were featured on Fox 12 Oregon.
Featured on Fox 12 Oregon with Nick Krupke.
Wow.
So, and it was kind of fun seeing how the girls reacted to how that all worked out. It was fun to see I think you saw the true kids that were there. It was very authentic.
Yeah.
I thought. So,
Well, we had a podcast with a couple of those players.
We did.
And the coach, and that was a really great insight. But one of the things I took away from that was how long these kids have played together.
Yeah.
That team, that sense of team that they, because after a while you just trust each other. You just are able to. So I'm not surprised that they're able to play at such a high level and have such success, because they just have built that sense of team.
And that goes through not just the kids, but their parents supporting them, their coaches all the way up through Parks and Rec, and then when they get here, we have some stability, with our coaching staff.
Yeah.
And especially in girls basketball, because Zach's been doing it for so long that it's worked out really well.
That's great. Well, we look forward to seeing them next year. I know that many of them are returning next year to us as well. So we should have another strong basketball year with the girls. That's great.
Yeah. And I think we'll see some improvement from our boys next year. And then on the basketball side, and then wrestling is really
let's hear that.
starting to go. Obviously, Javi finishing second place at the state wrestling meet. We had quite a few community members, some former state champions that actually made it to that match to watch him wrestle. And then we had some of our students that actually drove up there and supported him. So
that's great.
That was a really cool thing. And then we can't forget the cheer squad either. Their first year.
Yes.
Doing competitions. They got 6th place at state. They were a little miffed by that, I would say. I think they thought they were going to do better, but every other competition that they did was 1st or 2nd place.
Well, and I mean, 6th place on your first year of doing competitions, that's really cool.
But they do have very high expectations, which is exactly what we're looking for.
Right.
So we're building. I mean, what it sounds to me is in so many different ways we're having success. Our kids are building, and the program is building.
And I do want to mention this too, Brad, because I know sometimes we hear from people, I'm not sure if I want my kid to do athletics because I'm worried that their grades are going to suffer. I would say this about every single one of our teams so far this year that I have put in for Academic All-State have had a team GPA over 3.0.
Nice.
Wow, that's really good.
We had the number 1 ranked boys wrestling team in the entire state at the 3A level with a 3.69 team GPA. The only 2 teams at any classification that beat us were Franklin High School, which is a 6A school, got a 3.71. And then Crater, which is a 5A school, got a 3.81. So
Nice.
Our wrestling team put their time in. Our girls basketball team had a 3.82 team GPA, which was good enough for 6th in the state. Obviously, the girls basketball teams are, they are very student oriented.
Yeah.
It's been that way for a long time. Cross country had a 3.82 team GPA. Boys football was Academic All-State. 3.38, and I think that was their GPA as well for boys basketball. So,
Great.
And we'll be turning in the track and softball ones here in about another month. So, and I fully expect that our teams will be over 3.0 there. Even our cheer squad first year out, 3.22 team GPA. So,
Good. All right. So we've got athletes and scholars.
Yes.
I feel like this really encompasses like all the hard work and effort that these kids are putting into not just like the sport itself, but just in their high school career in general, which is really nice.
Yeah, very much so. And softball too. Before we
softball, yeah. They have They have 11 out right now, and all 11 are quality. They're quality kids. And last year they had a 3.69 team GPA. They're looking to up that this year. And we played our first 2 games. We have a couple more games this week home. Well, we had them Monday, Tuesday. And then they have a spring break tournament to go do, and then they'll start league up.
Nice.
And then track has over 50 kids.
Over 50.
Largest track team we've had here in many, many years.
Great.
So
now, if anyone's listening to this and has a couple extra $1 million sitting around, we do need to rebuild our track, and we do have a committee together for looking at how we can redo our track so that we can be even more competitive. But that's for another podcast. Let's keep going here. So, football. Let's go back in time and talk a little bit about our football team, because we appealed to OSAA and we won our appeal. Tell the public about what we did and why that happened.
So, we'll have to back up a little bit. So, the way we become 3A in any sport, what we have is we take our total daily membership, which is how many students we have at the high school. And then we take our free and reduced lunch, and then OSAA puts that into a math equation, and then it comes up with an adjusted average daily membership. So if you have 75% of 75% of your 200 kids are on, the lunch, then it gets reduced. Your 200 gets reduced down to a certain number. And I can't tell you what that math equation is. OSAA has some very long.
But you can spew out all these GPAs, but you can't tell me.
Yeah. I know. So
you're memorizing some great data, though.
So the adjusted ADM for 3A, the cutoff. So the bare minimum you can be to be a 3A school is 142 students. And the last time we did an adjusted ADM check, we were at 155. So therefore, that put us up to the 3A level, and there wasn't really anything we could do about that. I mean, OSA decides what that is, and we go with it.
So what you're talking about is, because we were 2A, we went up to, they put us to 3A. And this was 2 seasons ago. And then, our kids got thrown into some pretty competitive games against teams that had full squads. And then we had several of our players leave, bringing our team down to just barely able to field a team.
Yep.
But this year, a lot of our kids, the core from the year before came back, right? Mm-hmm. And but they had to again play at the 3A level,
correct,
which made it really challenging to compete. Now, if you have just enough kids to field a team, like 11 or 12 kids or 14, mm-hmm. That means they have to play both ways, offense and defense.
No resting.
Mm-hmm. And then that opens them up to more injury. Mm-hmm. And so then if you have a couple injured, then you're looking again at being able to almost not being able to field a team, right?
Correct.
So,
and what happens then if you can't field the team? You have to forfeit the game?
You do. And, that happened.
Yes,
it did.
We had one game.
We had one game that happened. And so what we were trying to do with this 2A appeal is go from 11-man, which is what 3A plays at, down to 9-man, which is what 2A plays at. And we had to appeal to OSAA, had to go through paperwork and steps and call the football ad hoc committee and get their members on board with it. And they decided that looking at our record and how many kids we had out, how many kids were coming up, how long it's going to take us to kind of get this rebuilt so we could actually be an 11-man team, they felt it was proper that we went down to 2A.
Which is good.
Which is just for football.
Right. So why, if it's just for football, why do we keep 3A for all the other sports?
The other 3A sports, I'm not going to be able to appeal any type of process for another 2 years. I can do a special appeal with football, and it's only for football. And the other thing too is when you have success at different, like our girls basketball team won some playoff games, have been to the round of 16. OSAA looks at as you can be competitive,
right,
in those other sports.
Yeah.
Football is a special case that they pull aside.
Right. I mean, we were losing games, 50 points to nothing, or something like 40 routinely, right?
Yep.
And this way now, if we go to 9, we'll play other teams in a similar situation,
Correct.
And it gives us the ability to not only see some more success, but to build our team to maybe we go back to 3A at some point. Right?
Yes, and the rules as they stand now, we have 2 years to rebuild it at the 2A level, and then they would look at putting us back up to 3A here in 2 years. So that gives us a 2-year amount.
Okay, so we're competitive in other sports. We've won our appeal for football, so that's going to change things for next year, which is great. And let's talk just briefly. We're running low on time here, but I just want to talk a little bit about our baseball team because we worked really hard. You worked really hard, really recruiting and getting a team together because we didn't have a team the year before. And you got there, and we hired a coach. And then what happened? We lost it a little bit. So
we did. And, it's for a variety of factors. I mean, some kids need to help at home and get a job. So I'm not gonna, feel badly about that or anything. But yeah, we did put in a lot of effort to do that. It didn't work out this year. So the hope is I'm committed as the athletic director to get our baseball team back. I am. And the goal is next year we're seeing some kids who are playing 8th grade this year in baseball. We don't have any seniors that were going to come out of those ones that we thought we were going to have. So that means if everybody comes back next year, we would easily have 13.
Now, how many kids do you need to play baseball?
We do need 13 to feel safe and comfortable, I would call, as a baseball team. And the reason for that is the pitch count.
Right, you need to have enough pitchers.
So you have to have 3 pitchers just in case, depending on how many games you play per week.
Right.
So OSA rules state that if you pitch over 80 pitches in one day, you have to sit out 4 days.
Oh my gosh, my shoulder would be so sore.
Yeah.
So
and then they have kind of it kind of goes down. If you do 60, you take 3 days off. If you do 40, you take 2 days off. And if you do less than 25, you can pitch the next day.
Gotcha.
So, and it's mainly for keeping kids' shoulders and, from being damaged because, back when I was in high school, you could see kids pitching twice a week, throwing 100 pitches a day. And they've done a really good job of making sure we keep that safety up in pitching. So that's why we need 13.
Absolutely. Makes sense. So I know that, nationally we're seeing a trend of kids not participating in certain sports. So we're just seeing, a lack of interest in some of the sports. And yet, we're still seeing a robust interest in sports overall here in Jefferson through our Parks and Rec and then coming into our high school. I know we don't always have the numbers for some of the sports that we want, like baseball, but in others like track, we have 50, which is huge. I mean, that's great and very robust. So things are going really well in so many ways and they could improve in others. So with Parks and Rec, I mean, are you guys thinking about or talk to me about your ideas of growth and how to partner with them?
So right now we're starting a program, our K through 12 program is what we're calling it. And coaches at the high school level are looking right now at partnering with Parks and Rec on doing some what we would call coaching clinics for maybe if you are a parent of a 3rd grader and you're thinking, oh gosh, I don't know how to coach basketball. I don't know how to do any of this. our high school coaches would come out and do a basketball clinic
Right.
For you. It'd be a 1-day clinic. We'd give you some easy, simple drills to do with kids that will help with those skill building that we need.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we're going to do with coaches is a kids camp. Mm-hmm. So every so often there would be, maybe you'd see a basketball kids camp. I know softball has done a kids camp. Cheer is really good at doing their kids camps. So there will be more kids camps, and there will be opportunities for parents and anybody who might be interested in coaching with day long, come in for about 4 hours and learn some things so that you can help your kids with the skill building.
Okay. So that's encouraging. I mean, I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to hear the partnership, the idea for growth.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about all the successes our athletes are having and just participation. And we know that we can grow and we can always be stronger, and that we're working toward that. But I appreciate your efforts and thank you for all you do, and for Jefferson Athletes. And that is going to wrap us up for today. That was a really quick conversation, but
they always fly by so fast.
I know they do. But anyway, I wanted to thank you again, and thank you to my co-hosts, and we will see you all soon.
Bye.
Next time.
All right.